in the ancient city of Venice, where gondolas glide along canals that have carried the secrets of emperors and merchants, and where marble palaces rise against the slow current of history, the world paused to witness what was quickly called the wedding of the century: Jeff Bezos, the billionaire architect of Amazon, and Lauren Sánchez, the media personality turned power partner, chose this city not for convenience, but for symbolism. Venice has always been the place where wealth and spectacle meet romance and mystery. And on this night, the City of Water became the stage for a love story wrapped in diamonds, silk, and global attention. It was not only a wedding, it was a coronation of power, a reminder that Bezos, whose journey from garage to global empire is etched into modern legend, had now written a new chapter 1, not defined by commerce but by companionship. Lauren, by his side, was more than a bride. She was a statement, a partner who had walked with him through storms of scandal and questions of legacy, and now through the candlelit arches of a Venetian palazzo, they arrived at a moment designed to be flawless, but destined to be unforgettable for very different reasons. The air buzzed with whispers and the shimmer of camera, flashes as gondolas delivered the guests one by one. A list celebrities, fashion titans, and media moguls emerged in gowns and tuxedos, stepping carefully across the uneven stones that had watched centuries of lovers, kings, and conquerors. The setting was ancient, but the atmosphere was unmistakably modern. Every phone raised, every lens tilted to capture not only glamour, but also the possibility of imperfection. And in Venice, imperfection was waiting at every corner. The guest list alone turned the city into a temporary capital of Hollywood and high society. Oprah Winfrey, Kylie Jenner, Kim Kardashian, Kris Jenner, Khloe Kardashian, Tommy Hilfiger, and countless others drifted into the palace where chandeliers glowed and violins carried the sound of wealth and tradition. Oprah, the queen of American talk, entered with poise. Yet even she found herself caught in a private battle against gravity. Her lips moving in a quiet plea not to fall, not to stumble, not to let the cameras see her. Vulnerability the internet would later seize on that clip because it showed something rare. Oprah not as the commanding host of her own empire, but as a woman in towering heels praying for balance. Then there was Kylie Jenner, the youngest billionaire in the Kardashian-Jenner dynasty, whose life has been curated through Instagram filters and brand empires. She arrived in a gown shimmering like liquid silver, but as her heel caught the edge of a step, she stumbled, and for a moment, the perfection cracked. The crowd gasped, the cameras clicked, and the stumble went viral. The world saw not the flawless beauty mogul, but the fragile human navigating stone that had defeated centuries of tourists and dignitaries. Kylie steadied herself, but the stumble echoed louder than the shimmer. Tommy Hilfiger, whose name is synonymous with American style, followed, and for a moment it seemed even fashion royalty was not immune to the Venetian curse. A marble step, a slight misstep, a flash of frustration. And suddenly, the designer whose empire was built on control of fabric found himself battling with gravity. Lip readers later claimed he cursed under his breath. And though the words were never confirmed, the image of Hilfiger gritting his teeth became yet another highlight reel for a night that refused to stay perfect. But the most intriguing moments of the evening were not physical. They were whispered. Lip readers studying the footage, uncovered conversations never meant for public ears. Kris Jenner, the matriarch of the Kardashian empire, was captured giving sharp instructions, her tone unmistakable, her control absolute. She was not simply attending a wedding. She was managing it as if it were another episode of her reality show. Her power undeniable, her presence commanding, and beside her, Khloe Kardashian revealed another truth. Her words laced with fear. She worried about falling, about losing her footing, about being captured in a moment of weakness that would live forever on the internet. And then there was Kim Kardashian, a woman whose whispers have launched headlines across the globe, leaning and speaking words that no one could fully decode: a secret, a strategy, or perhaps a confession. No one could be sure, but the mystery of that whisper became its own story. Fans speculated, insiders guessed, but the truth remained locked behind the glamour of that Venetian night. Part 1 closes with this tableau of arrivals. This first act of spectacle and stumble, where the richest and most powerful walked into a palazzo that demanded grace, yet offered chaos. And as the night continued, these small moments began to weave into something larger, a portrait not just of a wedding, but of Hollywood itself, a world that insists on perfection, yet always reveals its flaws when the cameras are sharpest, bruh. Winfrey stood at the entrance of the Venetian palazzo, her gown moving with the soft rhythm of the canal breeze, her diamonds catching the flicker of torchlight yet behind. The glamour was the whisper of vulnerability for decades. Oprah has commanded the stage her voice-shaping culture, her interviews defining moments of history from royal confessions to presidential revelations. Yet in this single instant, she was captured not as the empress of television, but as a woman whispering to herself, pleading not to fall on marble stone. The symbolism was almost too perfect for a figure who has always balanced power and humanity. Oprah has faced controversies about her network, about her book club selections, about her interviews that turned into storms, and yet through it all, she stood tall here. However, in Venice, she revealed what no headline could hide, even the most powerful need balance. And even the queen of media cannot control the ground beneath her. Kylie Jenner arrived next, carrying the weight of an empire built on lip kits, cosmetics, and a lifestyle curated for millions on social media. Her stumble was brief, but it echoed through the digital world. Because Kylie has always been about image control, her rise to billionaire status, questioned by Forbes, her relationships dissected her. Every move turned into a headline, and so the stumble became more than a misstep. It was a metaphor for the fragility of curated perfection. Fans replayed the clip not out of cruelty, but fascination. This was the woman who seemed untouchable, the face of modern beauty commerce. And yet here she was fighting the same stone that tripped tourists every day in Venice. The irony was sharp, and the internet turned it into another reminder that the line between myth and reality is thin, especially for those raised in the glare of fame. Tommy Hilfiger, the designer whose name draped the shoulders of a youth culture across the 90s, and whose empire defined preppy rebellion, faced his own battle with gravity as his polished shoes nearly slipped against Venetian marble, his frustration visible, his lips tightening, his mutter caught but not confirmed. Hilfiger has built his legacy on precision, on style that suggested control. And yet this moment stripped away the polish. His stumble was a reminder that fashion is built on illusion, an empire that sells perfection but hides the flaws behind the runway curtain. Through the years, Hilfiger has faced challenges, his brand accused of losing relevance, only to resurrect itself, his designs criticized, then celebrated. But here in Venice, he was simply human, a man against the stones. And then, the whispers began. The most intriguing part of this wedding spectacle. Kris Jenner leaning close, her voice firm, her commands unmistakable. Kris has always been more than a mother. She is the architect of an empire that transformed family life into reality. Television gold, she turned private moments into public currency and built a dynasty where every stumble, every romance, every scandal could be monetized. Her words at the wedding carried the same sharp edge. She was not attending. She was directing, as if the Venetian palazzo itself had become another set, another opportunity to maintain control. Beside her, Khloe Kardashian revealed another tone, softer, vulnerable, her whispered confession of fearing a fall, of fearing the cameras capturing her. In weakness, Khloe has carried the weight of public commentary on her body, her relationships, her struggles, her resilience. And so her words at this wedding were not just about stone steps. They were about years of scrutiny, the kind that makes every move feel like a test, every misstep a headline. Her fear was not only of falling, it was of being frozen forever in one viral clip. Another chapter in a life lived under a microscope. And finally, the most mysterious whisper came from Kim Kardashian. She leaned in, her lips moving, her words inaudible, and instantly speculation ignited. Was it a secret about the wedding, about her family, about her empire? Kim has always mastered the art of mystery, building an empire not only on what she reveals, but on what she withholds. From her reality show beginnings to billion-dollar businesses, to high-profile romances and law studies, Kim's life has always been half spotlight, half shadow. And this whisper in Venice became a symbol of that duality. A secret caught on camera, but never confirmed, a reminder that in Hollywood, power often lies not in what is said, but in what is left unsaid. As the night continued, these moments, small, fragile, yet powerful, began to reshape the meaning of the wedding. It was no longer simply about Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez. It was about the truth of celebrity culture, the collision of power, wealth, perfection, and vulnerability. Venice had stripped away the layers, leaving behind something raw, something unplanned, something real. Jeff Bezos stood at the center of it, all the billionaire whose journey from selling books online to building Amazon into a global empire has been told as a tale of genius, ambition, and disruption. Yet behind the myth of the richest man alive lay a story of reinvention and controversy. His presence in Venice was more than a groom walking toward his vows. It was a man rewriting his narrative for the world to see. Bezos was once defined by his first marriage, a partnership that lasted 25 years and ended in a divorce that made headlines across the globe, not only because of the scale of wealth involved, but because of the revelation of his relationship with Lauren Sánchez. Lauren Sánchez herself was no stranger to attention. She had built her career in the world of media, a reporter, a news anchor, a helicopter pilot, a woman with her own presence in Hollywood long before her name became linked to Bezos. But when the affair was revealed, the story became larger than life. Tabloids feasted on text messages leaked to the press. Investigators were hired whispers of betrayal-filled magazines, and suddenly, Lauren was thrust into the global spotlight not as a journalist, not as a pilot, but as the woman who had captured the heart of a billionaire and shifted the course of one of the world's most powerful marriages. Together, Bezos and Sanchez weathered storms of scandal, his texts mocked in late-night monologues, her reputation dissected by the media, and yet through it all, they stood firm, reshaping the narrative into one of resilience and devotion. Over the years, they became a fixture of high society events, sailing across the Mediterranean, on yachts, mingling with world leaders and Hollywood elites, crafting an image of power and partnership. And now in Venice, they were sealing that transformation into permanence. The choice of Venice was itself symbolic. The city of masks, secrets, and power games, a place where merchants once ruled the seas and where fortunes were made and lost. It was the perfect backdrop for Bezos, who had faced public scrutiny, congressional hearings, and constant criticism of his empire, yet who continued to project dominance. Venice allowed him to cloak scandal and romance, to frame a controversial love story as a fairy tale ending. Lauren, on her part, walked into this wedding not as a shadow, but as an equal, her gown. A statement, her presence commanding. She had once been portrayed as the outsider, the scandalous partner, but now she was the bride in the center of the world's gaze for her. This wedding was more than a union. It was redemption, a declaration that she was not defined by headlines, but by the man at her side and the life they had chosen to build together. Yet the irony of this night was that even as Bezos and Sanchez tried to script a flawless narrative, the true story slipped through in the stumbles and whispers of their guests. Their own love story had been born in scandal and remade into power. And now their wedding echoed the same theme, that no matter how carefully you design an image, reality will always find its way in the stumble of Kylie, the near fall of Oprah, the frustration of Hilfiger, the sharp commands of Kris Jenner, the fears of Khloe. The mysterious whisper of Kim all mirrored the chaos that had defined Bezos and Lauren's own journey, a reminder that perfection is an illusion, and that the cracks are where the real story lives. As the vows were spoken, and the applause rang through the Venetian halls, the cameras captured the beauty, the wealth, the spectacle. But for those watching closely, it was not the diamonds or the gowns that defined the night. It was the shadows around the light, the whispers between the vows. The proof that even the most powerful are shaped not by what they control, but by what they cannot. In Venice, the night had deepened. The palazzo stood like a fortress of light against the ancient waters. Candles flickered, diamonds glistened, laughter rose. And yet beneath the glow, there was an undeniable tension, a truth that no one could deny, that this was not simply a wedding, this was a performance, a ceremony wrapped in layers of power, wealth, scandal, and secrecy. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez had chosen this stage carefully, a city of masks where truth and illusion blur together, and it was in this setting that the contradictions of Hollywood revealed themselves, because every stumble, every whisper, every imperfect slip of balance told the real story. Oprah Winfrey whispering her prayer not to fall, Kylie Jenner stumbling on, the steps Tommy Hilfiger muttering in frustration, Kris Jenner commanding her clan with precision, Khloe Kardashian voicing her fear. Kim Kardashian leaning close with secrets unspoken, each of these moments connected back to decades of scandals and headlines, and together they painted a portrait not of perfection, but of reality. And reality was the one thing Hollywood always tries to hide. Jeff Bezos himself had lived this contradiction, his career born in a garage, his empire built on books, transformed into the most powerful company in the world, his personal life carefully curated until scandal tore through the illusion, his affair with Lauren Sánchez exposed in leaked texts mocked across tabloids, and yet what was mocked became power. Because Bezos did not retreat, instead, he doubled down, appearing publicly with Lauren facing criticism together, weathering storms until they emerged not as scandal survivors, but as a couple crowned by the very attention meant to undo them. Lauren Sánchez too carried contradictions. She was a journalist, a pilot, a woman with her own accomplishments, yet the scandal painted her as simply the other woman, a label she had to endure as her private life became public fodder, and yet she transformed. That narrative, she stood proudly beside Bezos on yachts at galas in front of flashing cameras. And now in Venice, she stood not as an outsider, but as the bride of the century. Her transformation complete her story rewritten not by others, but by her own resilience and choice. And still the whispers from the guests revealed something deeper. Because what are Hollywood weddings? If not reflections of an industry built on illusion, the Kardashian dynasty has thrived on turning private chaos into public spectacle. Kris Jenner has orchestrated decades of scandals, romances, breakups, and controversies into episodes, profits, and headlines. The stumble of Kylie, the fears of Khloe, the whisper of Kim were not isolated. They were symbols of a machine that feeds on both glamour and failure. Because without scandal, there is no story, and without story, there is no empire. Oprah Winfrey has built a kingdom on authenticity, on the idea that vulnerability is strength, and yet even she could not escape the pressure of a Venetian stare. Her whispered prayer not to fall was not weakness, but honesty. The kind of honesty that had carried her from small-town beginnings to the heights of cultural power. Her stumble was not just physical, it was symbolic. Even legends must negotiate with the ground beneath them. Tommy Hilfiger, for all his control of fabric and fashion, for all the youth culture revolutions his brand has survived, was undone for a moment by stone. His mutter a reminder that perfection is fragile, and that fashion like fame is built on the illusion of balance. The fall always waiting in silence just beyond the spotlight. The Kardashian whispers were perhaps the most telling, because in them lived the entire thesis of celebrity culture Kris commanding. As if the wedding were her set, Khloe voicing fear not only of falling, but of being captured in weakness. Kim whispering secrets that no one could decode. These moments reminded the world that the Kardashian empire thrives not in perfection, but in spectacle. And spectacle requires cracks, flaws, drama to fuel it. What the public sees as mistakes are in truth the raw material of empire. And so the Venice wedding became something larger than vows, larger than romance, larger even than Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez. It became a mirror, a reflection of the entire Hollywood machine, a world obsessed with control, yet forever undone by the uncontrollable, a world that sells perfection but profits from imperfection. As the night moved forward, violins playing, guests applauding, vows exchanged. It was easy to be dazzled by the gowns, by the diamonds, by the spectacle of wealth. But the real story was not the diamonds. It was the shadows behind them, the whispers between conversations, the stumbles caught by cameras, the fragile humanity that leaked through every polished moment. Because this is the truth of celebrity culture. It thrives on contradiction, it builds empires on stories of love, but sells those stories through scandal. It crowns queens for their strength, but profits when they stumble. It celebrates wealth while feasting on vulnerability. And the Venice wedding was its purest expression. Here was Bezos, the titan remade into groom. Here was Lauren, the scandalous partner, remade into bride. Here were stars meant to represent untouchable glamour, revealed in their most human fears, frustrations, and flaws. The internet seized on those clips, not because the world loves cruelty, but because the world craves truth. The stumble of Kylie was relatable, the whisper of Oprah was universal. The mutter of Hilfiger was real. The commands of Chris were familiar. The fear of Chloe was human. The whisper of Kim was mysterious. The public did not see gods and goddesses. They saw people trapped in the same gravity, the same uncertainty, the same frailty that defines us all. And this is why the Venice wedding will be remembered not simply as a spectacle, but as a story of contradictions. The grand performance of wealth undone by human truth. Bezos and Lauren crafted a narrative of power and devotion, but what history will record is not the perfection they sought, but the imperfection they could not hide. Hollywood has always lived. In this space between control and chaos, between the stage and the backstage, between the diamond and the crack, the Venice wedding placed that duality on the global stage and left the world captivated not by vows or luxury, but by the proof that even the most powerful, the most wealthy, the most glamorous cannot script reality. As the final fireworks echoed across the Venetian sky, as gondolas drifted silently through canals, as the palazzo emptied of its glittering guests, the city returned to silence. But the story lived on, carried across headlines dissected by lip readers, replayed in viral clips whispered across social media. The wedding of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez became another chapter in Hollywood's endless saga, a tale of love, wealth, scandal, and the eternal truth that perfection is an illusion and reality always wins. Because in the end, it was not the diamonds that sparkled brightest, it was the flaws. It was not the vows that captured history, it was the whispers. Not the carefully arranged spectacle, but the moments when the spectacle cracked and truth poured through Venice had witnessed centuries of stories. And on this night, it witnessed another, the story of how even the richest and most powerful cannot escape the gravity of being human. In the glittering world of billionaires, love stories are sold to us like fairy tales, perfect, glamorous, unshakable. But what if the world's most powerful couple wasn't just building an empire of love, but hiding a war of secrets? What if behind the diamond rings and luxury yachts, there was a battle one of betrayal, billion-dollar deals, and a truth so explosive it could rewrite their entire legacy? Tonight, we pull back the curtain on Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez and reveal the twist that no wedding album could ever capture.